Hello everybody, it is Aimel once again giving my overview of the matchup of the P4G. Already week 7, the time flew by so fast, we're just 1 week away and then we're gonna be playoff. And the playoff race just keeps on getting just more and more close. So yeah, let's get this week done, shall we? So at first, let's look over Galvanate versus the Gravy matchup. That I remember it was like Gravy won its last week versus Playmore, if I look at it back correctly. Actually, no, if I Hisuian won, yeah, right, with the big Velusa. And Nate, if I look at it back again, where did it? I'm looking at my notes from last week. This is how I'm looking. So Seabat, Nexus, Shuckle, Thomas, Joey. Oh, yeah, you fought Kyle, and I believe Kyle won, from what I remember correctly. So yeah. So for this matchup that we have here on Nate's side, as always, the Premier Arena is a big threat. It's the Pokemon on Gravy's team that can take it at best are the likes of Pheasant Deputy and maybe Sinistra. Like at least both are fine together. Like Sinistra resists water and Pheasant Deputy resists fairy. If it's like choice, if it's not choice, then Pheasant is not bad into it. But still a big threat nonetheless. Mug is amazing versus the size spam of Gravy's team. Like it would still take a lot from actually let me just reduce the song a little bit. I don't know if it's slightly for you, but just gonna reduce it for myself. So yeah, Mug is good, strong knockoff, great ice swapping of psychic moves with Mug. Then I like the Toadscrew here as his ground type of choice, which is Raikou, because Mudsdale doesn't have to fear a Skull Burn. Also, Toadscrew has higher special defense and is neutral to Scald. So also he can also lay down hazards. He can also knock off for the team if he wants. I like also Pyro as a big threat with like either Terra, normal or fire. Like, it has to also be mindful of like Flash Fire, Armor Rouge, but then you have Hyper Voice, and then Sinistra has Eat Proof, so it technically takes on Pyro okay, but it needs to be very Spadef to do so. But I still like it offensively. Like it's overheats with Terra Fire would still hit very hard, nonetheless. Uxie is another good Pokemon as a decent hit taker. This is like a Lucha as well. You can also self hazards, like rocks to pair with those Toadscrew. Also just momentum out if needed. And then last I also think Flamigo is also very strong. It has good speed here versus most of Gravy's team. It hits very, very hard because most of Gravy's physical tanks, actually all of them, because like Sinistra, Pteranodon, and Piloswine. I mean, the last two might not die at full, but they will take severe damage. Or we'll just need some chips to be put in Flamigo range. As on Jack's side, Armor is still a threat despite the Alolan Mug. Like it has to be careful to not get worn down too quickly by potential armor cannons. I still like the Sinistra here. Like it's pretty tanky and its dual type is good. You can also heal pretty nicely here with Strength Sap as well. It's also very good to the Cobalion to make sure you don't get run over by it. I also like a Lucha here. It could run set up a Lucha, but I also very like just straight up offensive a Lucha without any need to set up. Like the speed tier is good with everything but Cyclozar. Like I really think Bandit the Lucha is strong. Like some Brave Bird Bandit or like U-turn out. Yeah, Bandit U-turn first, then later in the game you just Brave Bird or close combat. Like also, like I mentioned with this Primarina, I think Pheasant Deputy is a good Pokemon to bring here for it. Like the Steel type is Cobalion, which is not that terrible because then you have the Sinistra to fall back on, and the Alolan Muk is I mean they're both neutral to Fairy. So technically Pheasant Deputy's Fairy type are strong. It's just that it's just not strong initially. But having only Pyro as a resist can still be good for your Fairy type nonetheless. Like maybe if you try some kind of bulky Pheasant Deputy with Swords Dance, like you try to have the bulk to take the attacks, but then you have Swords Dance to compensate for the lack of damage. That can let you sell versus Muk, because Muk won't be able to damage you too hard unless it's like offensive Gong Shot. Or like Curse. Then We saw Veluza last week, but I think it's still good here. Like similar to Alucha, not necessarily just setup, but just you just run the offense immediately. Like you do it like Scarf, like or even Assault could be fun actually. Like you get a special book, you need to take a hit from Primarina, Pyroar, or Totgirl. Then you can fire back with some attacks. Also, I should go, let me go back 1 second with Alucha to go further into my point of offensive without setup. It has Mold Breaker, so if Nate thinks of bringing Ounceon as a defensive check, Mold Breaker will allow him to use physical attacks by bypassing Fluffy, so like its Braver will hit Ounceon hard. So, and then back on the last one, I say Pillow Swine last because it's pretty tanky. It gets rocks up. And but yeah, you have to do Duraludon or Pillow Swine. I put Pillow Swine because it also has a priority Ice Sharp, which is nice for Flamigo. So yeah, it is very close. I'm gonna give it to Jack because I like how it's faster. It's faster because there's the Alucha. Like he has way to get much faster than Nate in my opinion. So I'm gonna give it to him, but it's very close. Like very close. Right. Next, Gentleman Thomas versus Kyle Lay. Like Kyle just mentioned versus Nate, whereas Thomas fought Joey, which came kind of close game that relied on Intellion getting a crit or not, but he got the crit, so that gave him the win for Joey. But for this match alone, on the side of Thomas, Raptor is strong, sure. There's Garg and Bronzong. They're annoying, especially Bronzong, but it's still Raptor. I won't say it's his best Pokemon here though. Just like you just get it in once and just get a strong move to like help your team to not have to deal with one of this Pokemon. Else, but I do like the Gator here. It does hit very hard with his water move. Just like keep in mind like some kind of Palosan trap set because of water compassion, like or even like maybe Blossom, but beside that, it does look very strong. I think there's also a place for Dusknoir here technically, like probably Terra Water to give him another Pokemon to take hits from Barraskewda. Also having a super effective move on the Garganacl, which will normally resist Ghost move with its ability Purifying Salt. I also like the Tinkaton here. You can take hits from the likes of Cincino. Also get rocks and knockoff. And you could technically also paralyze Garg if it wants to with Mold Breaker. But I could see a rule for on tempo to not get intimidated by Arcanine. But I think Mold Breaker more. Especially like, if Zep Strike out Terras into a type not electric, you can now Thunder Wave it because you bypass Lightning Rod or Motor Drive. Assuming it is normally these abilities and not September. I put Miss Magius, like even with Garg here, it's still very pretty scary. Like you can have a coverage move to hit Garg with like Energy Ball, and like maybe we'll see like being EV bulky enough with sub to not have its sub broken by Cell Cure to try to exploit Garg. And then last I didn't know who to put. I thought like Goldfish for Spike. Well, last I put the Decidueye because sure it could have been like, I guess it could be Coolfish for the Spike to force. Even those spikes will just get, or yeah, not that effective as Bronzong and Weezing for Levitate or Bomber just Flying typing. I just didn't know who to put last. Yeah, let's say Quillfish because the other Pokemon can still be effective to have Spike for. Because yeah, I put this as July because even with Weezing Galar, I tell you it looks pretty strong. Like it's a good switch on the Palo Sand and Garg. But yeah, as on Kyle's side, offensively the Barraskewda is great. Of course, it's the fastest Pokemon in the game beside Kyle's own Zemstrika in Mencino. But still very strong, like very good for late game with just sparing some Bennett Liquid flip turns. I also like the Arcanine here with Intimidate. Also, it's a way of spreading burns with Will-O-Wisp because Thomas has no fire type but has a lot of physical attackers. I also like the Zepstrika here actually. Like Barraskewda, it's faster than everything. So it could get away with super effective coverage with like Bolt Beam. If we want to be wider, no, I think I mean, it can be water if you don't care too much about Decidueye. So that way you get better defensive versus the likes of Feral Alligator. I also like the Scrafty here because it's pretty tanky, it's decent to Meloetta, gets some good knockoff and some good fighting move. Because Thomas's fairy type is part steel, so it doesn't resist fighting. Then I also like the Bronzong here. It's a great answer to the Staraptor. I think the worst it can get hit by is Bended U-turn. But besides that, it can work on Raptor pretty nicely with like rocks and maybe have a Rocky Element if you want to. And last I put Galarian Weezing as another like physical wall because again Thomas's team is pretty physical oriented. Like I thought about putting Bombardier. I didn't put it because of Tinkaton, but it was close. Again, another close matchup, very close. But I couldn't give it the edge on Thomas because it has. I mean, for what reason? It has Pokemon that does more damage. Nah, you can tell this matchup is still because I didn't give me myself a reason of why I chose Thomas. Then why I chose Thomas, I had no reason. There has to be a reason. Aimel. Well, let's just say I forgot the reason, but there was a genuine reason for this, okay? Right. Droopy and Ellie. Droopy on his quest to get a win versus Ellie, which is still fighting for her playoff spot. I believe she fought Cal last week, but lost. I believe it was this. And I think, no, I don't think I'm right. It was, yeah, no, it was. No, Ellie fought Playmore and won. My bad. Sorry, Ellie. I just get confused with different weeks. That's why. Okay, yeah. So, but for this week, in particular, on Droopy's team, despite the speed tier, Cleavor is pretty strong. I think it's a good Scarfer. Like you have Lucario that resists the dual stab, but Lucario, so it's still pretty frail. You'll still get hit pretty hard, and have to be worried about close combat. But yeah, I still like it. I still like Cleavor. I like the Blastoise here because in theory you're fighting Rain. But I think at best you're just gonna provide like spin utility to not get like as much spam by the Quillfish. There's no ghost type to be worried about getting a spin blocked by. Then I also like the Clodsire here as a physical tank, which is good for like Moltres, Whimsicott, and Jolteon. I also like the Locates here for its power. You just have to be worried on not getting burned by Moltres' flying body. Then I like the Probopass here, especially as a Terra user of the game. Like it can make itself capable to take a hit from depending what it wants. I also like Probopass like being more offensive because sure it has base 75 attack, but you can use like stuff like Meteor Beam to boost your power or damage output. And then that's. I mean, technically, you could make the argument of having Cleavor to force the Lucario with, like, if you get the Lucario on a U-turn, you can then Probopass and Magnet pull the Lucario to just Earth Power because you can just Terra into a Ghost type, meaning that you can only get hit by Steel type moves. You could do that. And then last, I put Galarian Articuno because it is a pretty strong special attacker as long as you land your falling move. No exception on Hair Slash, it can also miss. But yeah, it's pretty strong. As on Ellie's side, I think at this point she's not gonna bring Rain. I hope because if she does bring Rain this week, I'm gonna be a little mad that last week I gave her the dub bringing Rain, but she didn't. But this week I say she doesn't. But if she does it, well, at least it means she will have finally brought Rain for once because she technically never played with a tier 1 Pokemon. If you think about it, because Politoed was never brought, I think. But yeah. On the other side, Lucario, very threatening. Just have to be careful with the potential Probopass that can maybe pull it. Or also there's also Typhlosion Isui that also take a stab nicely. So there will be like some move slot issue or like either setup or coverage. But it's still strong. I also like the Gag turn here. It's pretty hard for Droopy to switch in. But yeah, it'll have to hit the field safely somewhat. But then when it will Terra, you'll be able to output big damage. Assuming it gets to attack and not get one shot. Next, I also like the Flygon here. Its speed is nice, which is everything but the Raichu Alola, but it also gives you the electric immunity from the Thunderbolt, or just U-turn momentum. Also, even without Rain, I think Fossil is not bad either. Like, sure, you have stuff like Cloud, Among Us, Scramble, because you also have no rank technically, but I still think it can be pretty threatening because it has Ice Spinner to hit Among Us and Claude. Yeah, I still think it's decent. Next, I also like the Farigara because it's not terrible into the Among Us. You have Substitute to take the lack of 4. You just have to be careful about Sludge Bomb, Poison, or just like Toxic. But also, you can also hit pretty hard with your stab. It's just Pro Pass that is immune to it. I mean, not immune, but takes both of its stab safely. And then last I put the Hisuian Coolfish. Pretty tanky, can lay down spikes. Could try to wear down Blaster with like Toxic or Barbarush. So again, so close as a matchup in my opinion. I give it to Droopy because of course we want to see him win a week for once. And I also don't think it's that bad of a matchup for him either. So I'm gonna give it to Droopy and see if he can finally get his first win. Alright, Jerky and Uzi. Jerky, I believe, got his did he won? No, he was undefeated for a time. No. His winning streak was ended by Callum last week. Yeah, I was afraid to say did he lost yet, and spoil potential future week. But no, it was this week that he. Yeah, I mean week 6 that he lost it, and then Uzi it was a Velusa incident. But yeah, so on Jeriky's side, again, Goodra Isui mentioned every week. It's very good. Next, after Goodra, I also like the Mug here. Like it could technically run like either Curse or you can run like just 4 attack coverage because it gets okay your Poison Stab. You have also Zen Headbutt to hit Okie Dokie. You can have like Shadow Sneak for Delphox, Decidueye, and Hunter. You could have like a move for Sendakoda, I think like Ice Punch or Giga Drain. Or even like Fire Punch for Sand/Alola. Or like, Terra Ground. Or Terra Blast. I also like the Crawdon here. It is strong and Aquajet Priority is very useful. This is a lot of Uzi's team. I also pair with Typhlosion because the idea is that you can just like force Slowking into a sort of fire move, but then you can just double into Crawdon as an easy opportunity for attack without having to use priority because you're gonna be faster and you threaten Slowking. Just have to be careful to not pull this trick if it does bring Dash Bond though, because technically Dash Bond is also very good into Typhlosion because it's immune to its fire type attacks thanks to Wellback Body. But if it doesn't bring Dash Bond and it has Slowking, then yeah, you can do that. Next I put Mesprit because it's overall pretty good. And it's decent to the Okie Dokie. You can pivot around. It could Healing Wish back something if needed as well. And last, I didn't know who to pick either. Like I thought about Palmot or Tornadus. I put Gligar last because it's not awful into Kilowatt Roll. Like you force a flying type attack to hit it with. And you can also have Hazard, you can also Toxic Uzi's team because you can also Earthquake for damage, Okie Dokie, and Sand Slash, who are normally immune to Toxic. And as on Uzi's side, Okie Dokie does look like a threat. Like it has the coverage for the likes of Gligar and Mach. And besides that, it can just hit very hard. Slowking, good tank into the likes of the Typhlosion and the Tornadus, but you have to be careful to not get punished into a Crawdon. So that could be a reason why it doesn't bring Slowking, but if he doesn't, it loses a lot for not having Slowking, in my opinion. Next, I put this Decidueye because its dual stab is very terrifying to deal for Jerky here. Like, I would say physical more because then you have the benefit of Shadow Sneak for Jerky's faster Pokemon. I also like the Killer Watchful for it because it has the speed in the matchup and its dual stab is very I mean, technically, the dual stab is strong. There is a good draw, but you could force a good draw in with a momentum move and then bring Okie Dokie. I put Grimmsnarl next because if you want to play more aggressive, then you can just, have dual screen with the Grim. And last, I really didn't know who to put last. I put Hunter because it does look pretty terrifying because again, Jerky's dark type is Groudon, so technically Terra goes Shadow Ball or a threatening option, even for Hisuian Goodra. Again, super close matchup. I gave it to Jerky because I like how you could play aggressive with the Groudon. And also Uzi's faster Pokemon has to rely on flying type moves on the special side as well. Actually, no, something I think about it. Maybe I was thinking for what to do a video of why the flying type offensively is I mean not bad, but like a double-edged sword or something. Yeah, if I have the motivation, I'll see if I'll ever do it. But yeah, that's literally another subject. And technically, it's not plugging because the video does not exist. At least at the time I'm making this. But yeah, I'm going to Jerky, but so it's very close. Again, we're week 7 and the matchup are very close. That's what we like to see. Like things being like down the wire on the perspective of the matchup. Alright, Nexus and Callum. Callum winning versus Jerky like I mentioned. And Nexus, who did Nexus fight again? Okay, he fought Shuckle and was at the very aura of a Tauros named Crit AQ, who actually crit AQ. It just Shuckle on his villain arc, where this is the world we live in. Yeah. On Nexus aside versus Callum, despite the presence of Skeletor and Alumomola, Entei does look like a pretty strong threat. Because sure, Aloe takes hits from Entei like easily, but if he gets Sacred Fire Burn, then Liquidation will not do as much damage, and it's not like Skull will do a lot of damage either. And also you can use some moves like Stomping Tetron to hit Skeletors with. I also like the Espeon a lot here. Callum's Dark type is Unscrow, so it's pretty frail. It has to be careful about, you know, the Dazzling Gleam. And its Steel type is part Poison, so it doesn't resist it. And yeah, Callum doesn't have a Psychic type of its own, so yeah, Espeon is pretty terrifying to face. Next, I also like the Bastiodon here as a tank. I'm thinking like maybe Terra Fairy. I mean, you could be Terra Steel, but I like the idea of having Bastiodon good into the Mienshao. There's also something good about it. The Bastiodon can also be very good into the Skeletors. Like I would say, like some kind of special Bastiodon. And why into Skeletors is because Bastiodon has the Soundproof ability, which makes it immune to Sound Move, and Skeletors has Torch Song, which is it's considered sound based, so meaning that Bastiodon can just block Skeletors from getting special attack boosts from Torch Song, as we just worry about like Will-O-Wisp, Shadow Ball, and X. Then I also like the Comfy here as a Fairy type versus the Dragon matchup. You do have Leech Seed to punish the switch of Room. You do have to keep in mind that Zarina is pretty good into Comfy. It's immune to Leech Seed, and Quilly Majesty makes it immune to Draining Kiss if Nexus goes for Triage. But still, with that in mind, I think it's still good to have another Fairy type in this matchup. Next I put Swampert, pretty tanky, can get rocks on, can pivot around, it's just your typical Swampert, still very good. And last, I put Rodham. I like his dual type here offensively. It's really just Arena that takes it comfortably. And then it's really just Mienshao that can revenge kill it with a Scarf, or like Sucker Punch for priority. And then on Callum's side, Mienshao, despite the presence of potential fairy types from Nexus' Terra Captain, still terrifying to face. It's just Espeon that's outspeeded naturally. I also like the Skeletors nonetheless, despite the Bastiodon dimension. Besides, if he doesn't bring Bastiodon, then Skeletors has easier time to click Torch Song. I also like the Alumomola here, despite, like I said, with Entei, but you could go technically with Cover Cloak if you feel like you need to hit Entei hard, but you cannot afford to get burned. I also like the Zarina. It's a very good spinner into Nexus team nonetheless, because Rodham must be worried about taking a Powerful Grass or Knockoff in the face. I also like Sten/Chicken in this matchup as well. I think it can hit pretty hard as well. Like if you go like Terra Grass to hit the Swampert and resist Breloom's attacks, its Earthquake can be pretty strong to pretty hard to switch into. And last I put Unscrow, like to put some thought on Nexus, whether if he wants to like click Psychic for free or not. but also Sucker Punch is good priority. Again, it's very close. I give it to Nexus because I think his mon are better off compared to Callum. Besides maybe not the comfy because like I said with Serena. But that's like one. And I think the rest of his team can be very, very good into Callum, but I could see Callum gaining as well. I mean, they both need to win to make playoff. So yeah, alright. Matchup number 7. Playmore and Shuckle. Playmore needs to win to make sure they're playoff while Shuckle King is still killing it undefeated. So for this matchup, Playmore side, I like the Galvanate offensively with its electric, bug, and grass coverage. I could see going with just these moves, but then you also need to remember that you need something to hit Electro that is not named Bug Buzz because of soundproof. So I think it's gonna be like, I mean that's the thing. There's no other good special bug type move unless you want to go physical with like lunge. Because like let me look at Galvantula's bug type move. Yeah, if Infestation is weak, you could be mixed with Leech Life technically, but it's not very good. It's really just for the Electrode. Yeah, or even Pounce. I mean, technically you could drop the Bug Buzz and go for a literally different bug move. Because again, it's really just for the Electrode. The rest you can just like Thunder and then you have Energy Ball for the right barrier. Then next, I put the Frost Blast because I think offensively it can be pretty strong. Like you don't care about Mandibuzz. I think it can be strong enough to have a Freeze Dry on Melodic. I believe Melodic gets Freeze, not Melodic, but Frost Blast gets Freeze Dry to hit Melodic Wave. Yeah, and actually it doesn't. Never mind. I think it was only Glalie that has it. So I guess you just stick with Physical and Poltergeist. Yeah, you have Bisharp that resists both of your stab. You have high defense for the physical set, but still think it's fine. Frost Blast has a Will-O-Wisp, so you can punish a Bisharp switch. And he has Pokemon like Blaziken that is very good into a Bisharp. Well, speaking of Blaziken, I also think it is good because it can back up Frost Blast for the Bisharp, but still be a strong breaker in its own right. I also like the Crocodile here. It's Crocodile, it's good, it hits hard, it has some good defensive purpose. If you switch it on the right position, I think you gotta go Moxie on this one. You don't potentially want to get intimidated by Gardevoir's Trace or something, especially if it's like if you're trying to be Scarf versus Scarf Gardevoir, we don't want to get weakened when Gardevoir tries to revenge kill you. Next, I also like the Altaria here. Like defensively with Will-O-Wisp can be very irritating for Shuckle to break, unless you can just burn through all Roost PP fast. And last, I put Porygon 2 as a decent special hit taker. Because you have Pokemon like Gardevoir and Slowpoke Galar that are hard to switch into. And then on Shuckle side, again, Gardevoir, a menace to switch into. Especially if you like think of like for like you trace Earth Eater, so now Crook has to knock off you no matter what. I mean, knock off will still hurt, but it's a thing. Like if you like Scarf Crow, then you force it to use Dark move, then you're back you're going to Dark. But you also have like Mandibuzz that is a good wall. Getting knocked by Crook could be very annoying, but you have the Fog to remove hazard if you're worried about them. Slowbro G, pretty bulky, pretty hard for Playmore to switch into unless they specialize Altaria to do or Porygon 2 to do it. Then I put Tauros because its speed is still good, it's only superior and it hits very hard. I also did Frost Slash, but that's a tie. And then next, I put like I said, Mandibuzz. Yeah, Hisui, good speed. It's just superior, but beside him, you can just switch around. Crook has to be worried. Also, something I didn't mention with Porygon 2, what makes it good to Slowbro Galar is that you can trace Regenerator, so you can just take a hit and pivot after, without having to worry about clicking Recover before that. And last, I put Mimikyu. I thought about putting Cryogonal or Smeargle. I put Mimikyu because I thought that these guys can be very crucial in this matchup. Again, it's very yeah, I think all matchups this week are like so close. So I had to put like one just a little above another. I'll give it to Shuckle because he's on his villain arc right now. I don't think anybody can stop him at the moment until we see. I mean, it's this man has done some 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 stuff, yeah. But yeah, okay, last matchup: CPAD versus Joey. I don't. Who did CPAD play? Yeah, he fought Droopy and he won. Yeah, that's why. Because yeah, Droopy hasn't won yet. Yeah, but now he's going against one of the only two undefeated players in Joey. So on his side, if I can find his side, yeah, I think Empoleon can be very annoying for Joy to deal with. It's going to into Inteleon. You can try some stuff like Yawn Whirlpool, just like flip turn out. Just be very tanky, very annoying Empoleon. Gastrodon because it's the ground type, the bulky ground type needed for the Regieleki matchup. You can lay on Hazard as well, so it does serve good purpose. I also like the DNC here. It is pretty strong with like some dual stab, some body press set. I like it. Then I put the Dog Trio because it can hit pretty hard. Like either Terra Ground or Terra Flying, depending if you want the coverage or just the extra power on Earthquake. Technically, Flying will be better because you can hit Heracross was super effective, but you have to be worried about Scarf nonetheless because Dog Trio is super frail. Next, I put Ursaring because it can be a good Pokemon to 1v1 stuff. Like, sure, in your head you think Pecharon, but then Ursaring has Guts, so if it gets Status, it just makes Pecharon stronger, and Pecharon can only damage it with Poison move, meaning it can Poison Ursaring activate Guts, and so it will just be able to hit Pecharon much, much harder. And last I put Overquill because it's between it and Monkey Dory. I think it's the better Poison type to have because Monkey Dory is so L plus against Registeel. And then on Joy's side, again, Pecharon is a menace nonetheless, despite what I mentioned about Overcool and I said nothing about Overcool versus Pecharon. But yeah, unless it's like Taunt, Pain Split, or like Swords Dance, it'll be hard for it to break Pecharon. Also, as we careful of Ursaring, if he doesn't, actually, I think my music just died. 1 second. There we go. But yeah, Pecharon, still a demon. Has to be careful if he wants to run Parting Shot because Empoleon is competitive. So maybe not the best Pecharon matchup, but still one that you can just include it. Next, I have the Incineroar here as a good. Like Incineroar has a pretty good dual typing in my opinion. It's also good with like the Drillblin that can be a demon. With like, because of Strength, Sablo, with etc. But it can take its hits pretty fine as long as it doesn't get Air/Flinch to Oblivion. Heracross, I think it's a good Scarfer here. Like you have Talonflame, but you could like be Guts. See if you're worried about Flame Body. I also like the Claw here. I think it hit pretty hard, but it's like it can go. It could go. I would say Terra Fairy because Fairy doesn't make you buy into Talonflame. It I guess. I mean, I guess I could see Altera type. Actually, there's not one that is overly better than the other, in my opinion. Maybe Grass if you want to have this Trailblaze versus Gastrodon, but I think all three are good. But yeah, and then Noivern, good speed, pretty strong. It's just Empoleon, but you could technically lure it because you can just force it with Noivern. It does learn Super Fang after all. And then last I put Registeel. It's very good to stuff the likes of Monkey Dory. But yeah, I also think this matchup is close. I think this is like one of the better matchup against Pecharon we have seen yet. It's not like a Pecharon proof at all, but it's one of the better ones. But still gonna give it to Joey because he's currently undefeated. Chase is, I believe, I think he's still fine for. No, I think he's still fine for playoff. My mistake. I think because he killed it the early weeks, but then it gets some struggle later on. So I think he's still fighting to make sure he's guaranteed for playoff. But I'm gonna give it to Joey. He is killing it currently. And then there's me being bullied by Pecharon, which is not part of this, but you get the gist. But yeah, so this is the video done. We went to every single matchup. Like, see, if I just press this, then bam, it's just empty. But yeah, week 7 done. We only have week 8 left, and then after this is the playoff, which will make my life easier because then it's just 4 matchups to look over, then semis with only 2, and then the finals being the very last matchup to look over. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. This is gonna be a late upload because I've been a little. Actually, no, I haven't been busy. I've just been lazy. I've not been busy. I've been lazy. But yeah, on that, I will talk to you guys later. See ya, everybody.